Talk Radio, the nation's interactive station. Tommy Boyds.
Thank you very much indeed. Be with you in a second. Said one thing. Thank you very much. 5543. Thank you very much indeed. I've just been on the phone to the Russian embassy after the news at 3 o'clock. I'm sure you'd want me to, because that was pretty alarming, wasn't it? I hope no children are listening, because I was a child when there was the Cuba missile crisis, and I said to my mum, I came home from school and said to my mum, what's this? Because the telly was on at 3:30 in the afternoon. You didn't get that in 1963, so I knew something was up. And she said, oh, it looks as though there's going to be a war. You know, she was only making conversation with me, but I was terrified. So I hope we don't say, you know, as soon as children start coming home from school that maybe there's going to be a war. There isn't going to be a war, is there, Ash? Shout no.
No, there's not going to be a war, Tommy.
But what are we going to do, man? What are we going to do? Well, I've got a telephone number to call, which is an agency.
Do something, Tommy.
Who the Russian embassy said would be able to answer my questions about what Boris Yeltsin really means. And I'll just have a quick word with them now. Oh, good afternoon. This is Talk Radio. Is there somebody I could ask about what Boris Yeltsin has been saying in Moscow today about the Iraqi crisis? No, I haven't called before, no. I'm just wondering if there's anybody I could talk to find out how serious he is. What do you think? Talk Radio. He asked me who we're from. Yes, Talk Radio, that's right. He's heard of us. No. I'm sorry, could you say that? Well, we just wondered how, if things are as serious as we've been hearing on the news. What do you think? Just personally, as a Russian. Are you worried? You're not worried. You're not worried.
I'm worried.
I am too.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, listen. Thanks for that. I appreciate that very much indeed. Thanks for talking to me. Hello. Yes, just a moment. Okay. Can I call you back? I'll ring you back in 10 minutes. Thanks. Thank you. What's your name? Thank you. Okay. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. His name's Boris. And I can call back in 10 minutes to find out if there's going to be a war.
Was that Boris?
Not that Boris!
I think Boris listens to this show, you know?
I'll go into my thing.
Okay.
We had an hour planned on an extremely important topic, which is the origin of mankind. But since the news at 3 o'clock suggested that even more pressing than the origin of mankind is the possible of mankind, then let's talk about that. Free call 0500 1053 89. So I telephoned the Russian embassy on our behalf, and they passed me on to another telephone number. I got to speak to a Russian gentleman. You heard my end of the conversation. It was all done because it was only at 3 o'clock that we realised that we were talking about something here. Although I did see a headline yesterday which said Boris Yeltsin warns about Third World War. And it was difficult to know whether he was talking about the Third World War, as in the First World War and Second World War, or whether he was talking about a war in the Third World. Because the Second World War wasn't really a world war, was it? Because it didn't involve the Third World. But anyway, that's by the by. It seems to me that this is an important headline and something that is worth discussing and important. Well, obviously, if it threatens the end of mankind. The government haven't told us what might happen if we get involved against Saddam Hussein. So Boris Yeltsin has, and appears to have said that Russia won't let it happen. Whatever that means. Okay, the phone lines are open. Free call 0500 1053 89. I don't think we could possibly find a more serious topic to talk about than how the world might end. You know, it won't be with a bang if Saddam has stockpiled the weapons that the United Nations investigators have been searching for. It will end with a whimper. Free call 0500 1053 89. Let me ask you this question. I asked the Russian gentleman if he was worried, and he said, not really. On a scale of 1 to 10, Are you worried? I'm 6. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening while you...
When my husband me taking me...
Talk to Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 1053 89.
Good afternoon. If you've just arrived at the radio, we've got the first international standoff of consequence since the Cuban crisis, it seems to me. Free call 0500 1053 89, with the Russian Premier Boris Yeltsin saying that the United States and Great Britain may not take action against Iraq, must not, will be opposed if they do. Free call 0500 1053 89. And just to lighten the load, England are 1 wicket down for 26 runs out there in the Caribbean. Oblivious to it all, Gary calls from Crewe. You're on Talk Radio. Gary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how afraid are you?
9.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite frightening, really, because I was just talking to the girl who picks the calls through about Nostradamus and his prophecies, which basically what they're saying is that in the year 1999, the seventh month, which is probably July, is the start of the Third World War. But prior to that, the year before is when Europe has a standoff with a Middle East nation, and the third world superpower will back them through the crisis.
Right.
So basically, what it's saying is, it's very hard reading, but basically what it's saying to me is that Britain and America having a standoff with Iraq, and Boris Yeltsin and Russia are going to back the Iraqis, and the King of Terror, it is called, will come from the skies.
Right.
It's really frightening.
And you believe this?
Well, it's difficult not to believe, because it's other prophecies. Okay, they're not bang on. Like when he referred to Hitler, he called him Hister, and he got years and dates of the Second World War. And the frightening thing is as well, he doesn't say in his prophecies that this will be the end of mankind, but he says terror will reign for 5 years.
So are you going to do anything differently between now and July?
Well, it's very difficult, because when you've got a family and you're working, you do get into a pattern, and you try and stick to that. But what I am going to be doing, I'm going to be watching the news very, very closely. And I think one of the problems that we've got is the fact that we're not giving Iraq enough time to sort out diplomatic methods of...
Okay, but the bottom line is you believe the Third World War will start in July, but you're still going into the office tomorrow.
Well, yeah.
Okay, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 1053 89. Bill's in Bradford. You're on Talk Radio. Bill.
Hey, Tommy.
Afternoon.
Yeah, I'm worried, but not in the same context. I'm worried if they don't get him. If they don't go in and get him.
Right.
Because once he's got that capability to fire his germ welfare missiles against us, and I don't think he'll be a particular friend of Russia either. I mean, once you get germ warfare in the atmosphere, it affects everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, be clear. What we've got this afternoon, which is new, is that the Russians are warning, it appears, that they may consider taking action themselves against the Allies, although there's only 2 of us. Mm-hmm. So it isn't so much the threat that Saddam poses this afternoon.
Well,
it's the threat that Moscow once again poses.
Yeah.
Yes?
But I still think... I mean, I suppose said they don't think they're giving enough time to work things out. All I think is just waiting while he's got the power to fire these missiles, and I don't think he'll think twice about it. I honestly don't think the man's a nutter, isn't he? And he's a law unto himself.
Well, is he?
Well, I think so. Well, I've seen him over years.
What have you seen him do that carves him out for a nutter and not any other
just his general
leader?
attitude, and that nation's general attitude.
Oh, come on, general attitude. I'm afraid this doesn't wash. It doesn't hold up in court. General attitude.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
I think they should go in and get him.
Yes, I know you do, but you haven't got any good reason for that. Apart from the fact that you've been told plenty of times that Saddam Hussein is a megalomaniacal, potentially genocidal maniac. Mm-hmm. But what's he done that anybody else hasn't done on an international scale?
Fair point.
Recently, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to die getting this bloke because everybody's turned him into a bogeyman.
Well, that's true, isn't it? We do get blinded by politicians, don't we?
Why don't we go and interview him and find out what he's got to say?
That'd be a good idea.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Pete calls from Ryde. You're on Talk Radio, Pete.
Hello, Tom.
Pete.
Yes, Tom. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say I'm about 0.
Right.
Because there's no point in being scared of it. It's definitely coming. There's no way we can avoid it. It's going to be a holy war. It's definitely going to be the Muslims versus all comers. And to be honest, the sooner we get on with it and get on with the job of wiping out the Muslims, the better.
Pete in Ryde. Isn't it fantastic? What comes out of the woodwork when the building looks condemned? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Don't worry. Do not be afraid. It's all hot air. Boris Yeltsin is just trying to impress his political competitors for his job in the Kremlin and in the Russian Senate. That's all that's going on. You knew that, didn't you? You didn't? Glenn calls from Birmingham. You're on Talk Radio. Glenn, good afternoon.
Hi, Tom, you're right.
World War III, on a scale of 1 to 10, how afraid are you?
I'm about 8.5 at the minute. I
Seriously?
normally listen to your show and sit and think how funny your conversations are sometimes, and sit and keeps me awake on the motorway. But since hearing the news at 3, hearing Yeltsin giving another warning, it worries me. I was in the Navy for 7 years, and I've seen some of the, not sort of at real hand, but had sort of warning videos about what chemical and biological weapons can do. And I don't think it'd be a quick end, like you say. It wouldn't be the bang. We'd all just bloody melt over the space of about 2 years.
Well, obviously we've got to be worried about chemical and biological weapons. We can imagine, tragically, what they can do.
What worries me is the fact that, I mean, I heard your caller earlier, and you were rightly sort of saying, you know, Saddam Hussein hasn't actually proved that he is a nutter, but it just worries me that he's so sort of irrational. He just doesn't seem to...
Again, you see, I come back to it. Why? What's he done that you think's irrational, man?
He doesn't sort of converse with the world like the other leaders does. He just sits in his ivory tower or hides when it's all kicking off.
That's a load of trash, isn't it?
It's not.
It is. It's prejudice. It's absolute prejudice.
Why? What did he do in the Gulf? He hid, didn't he? He put people around him.
What are you talking about? What do people do when they're being attacked by the only superpower on Earth? What do you think they do? What did Churchill do? Did Churchill get in a boat and sail across the Channel and say,
No, but
come on then, Hitler, come on then? No.
He didn't put people around him, though, did he, to shield him?
That's the story. Come on. You're a military man. You know how the truth gets
but
used.
what we would do, and what most of the West people would do, they'd put themselves in their own secure bunkers. They wouldn't get Iraqis, for sake of argument, and surround the building that he was in with Iraqis to say, you can't get me now, would he?
Now, you're absolutely certain that that's what happened, aren't you?
Well, no, that's press, you know, that's the media, and that's
Come
what
on,
the
use your
impression
brain.
is.
You don't have to just swallow everything that gets put up on the television screen for you.
No, I
do
know,
you?
but you have to read certain
You're an
amounts of it.
individual. You're an individual first, okay, and a British citizen second, aren't you?
Yeah.
And we should all be doing this. We should always be saying, well, what is this really all about and why?
I think there's a hidden agenda with the government. I mean, why all of a sudden is not Mr. Major, he's gone now, isn't he? Why is Tony Blair all of a sudden coming out with all these big ideas with the American government and not really conversing with the rest of the NATO people? It just appears that it's us in America against Iraq. There's no sort of
It doesn't appear
conversation
to
with NATO
be at all.
Pardon?
It doesn't appear to be that way at all.
Exactly. So why?
It is
where's the
exactly that
agenda?
way. The only countries which have considered military action against Saddam this time round are the United States and Great Britain.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Madeleine Albright running around all of the eastern countries trying to get support for it, and I'm thinking, well, why does she need to get support for it? If Russia and the rest of NATO are saying we shouldn't be doing it, we should be round a table and trying to sort it out that way, rather than scaring the whole bloody country or the whole world, really, with a slanging match, which is what it's turned into, really, isn't it?
Well, as I read Albright's mission, it's more a question of securing neutrality rather than securing support, because you're not going to get support. But at least she can secure the neutrality of the neighbouring Muslim countries.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Worrying, Tom, but hopefully we'll be able to keep listening to you for a few more years.
I hope so.
All right,
I
mate.
hope so.
Cheers.
Otherwise, I'll do something that's a sackable offence, because what difference will it make? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Oh, I can think of 3 that wouldn't be a bad way to go. Graham calls from Sunderland, and we'll talk to him in just a moment. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
On 11:07 a.m., the conversation of the nation. 10:53, 10:89 a.m. This is Talk Radio.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Graham calls from Sunderland. You're on Talk Radio. Graham, good afternoon.
Hello.
Graham.
Basically, I'd like to talk about the situation in Iraq as well, if I can, please.
Sure.
To be honest, I think the world's coming to an end, really. I can't see any way out of it. First, no. Not with, the amount of arms that, Saddam Hussein seems to have. So I can't see how I can get out of this situation.
What age are you?
Pardon?
What age are you?
I'm 18.
So you haven't really started yet?
Well, no, but you only have to look into the past, don't you?
We've got people telling you
World War.
It's all going to end.
Well, it looks that way now. If you ever seen Threads, which is like an 80s film, which shows, how nuclear war can destruct society, I can't see how we're going to get out of it.
Listen, mister, just a word of advice. Don't worry too much. We're going to be around for a long, long time.
Oh.
You'll get your crack at the whip.
Mm.
All right.
Hep high.
Yeah, aye. Free call 0500 10 53 89. This is what I'm bothered about, because I came home from school and the Cuban Missile Crisis was on, and I thought that was going to be it, and I was only 9. Just it didn't seem right. I still remember the fear. I ran upstairs. Didn't know what to do. All right, we can't have that happening all over again, can we? Not going to happen. I spoke to the Russian embassy, and they told me they weren't particularly worried. So we're all right. Free call 0500 10 53 89. John calls from Ayrshire. You're on Talk Radio. John, good afternoon.
Well, it's just this thing with Saddam. I just come back there for the Gulf in November, and I don't see what it is that everybody's panicking about. They've accounted for all his weapons and his chemicals and all the rest of it, because we can pick them up on satellite with the infrared readings and everything else of them. And what gets me is, there used to be 2 bullies in the block, like Russia and America. Now it seems that there's one, so he can get away with anything he likes. There's no balance of check to keep America in its place, or what used to keep Russia in its place, the former Soviet Union. So I don't know who it is, whether it's the arms manufacturers or what, is actually feeding the politicians. Not, as they'll say in Parliament, they're being economical with the truth.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. I also find that it concentrates the minds of a certain type of man when the news agenda is dominated by something like this. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let's find out what Lee has to say in Ipswich. You're on Talk Radio. Lee, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Lee.
Well, probably get hate mail for saying this, but I don't think war could be such a bad thing. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm trying to put this across. If you think back to the Second World War, or if you remember stories from the Second World War, Britain was full of community and spirit. And that was because of the war. People banded together to help each other out. If a bomb fell on Mrs. Jones, there'd be Mr. Smith and Mr. Brown around to help. And maybe that's what Britain needs now.
Yes.
I don't know if you can understand that.
Well, it won't come to it, of course.
Well, probably not.
No, this is just Boris Yeltsin doing a bit of what we used to call saber rattling, because he needs to impress his colleagues in Russia who think that he's not got what it takes any longer. See? And of course the consequence is we all start running around like headless chickens, don't we? Or bodiless chickens, because you can't have a headless chicken.
I suppose not.
No. If your head gets cut off, you don't go, whoops, there goes my head. You go, whoops, there goes my body.
Yeah.
Because the seat of your consciousness is in your head.
So they say, yeah.
This is very important when they used to execute people by beheading them. They didn't behead them, they bebodied them.
Right. That's kind of a way to look at it, I suppose.
It's one way of looking at that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for your call, Lee. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let me talk to my team, because they look worried at 3 o'clock. Are you still worried, Ash and Nikkei?
No, I've calmed down a bit now.
Good.
I'm worried.
Oh, don't be.
I'm wondering if I've got enough doors off their hinges to put up on their sides and hide behind to protect me.
Well, it won't protect you from chemical weapons, but they're not going to be used. And then you, Ash, I heard you say during the news at 3 o'clock, 1 cup of that stuff will do for the Midlands or something.
No, London, with 1 glass will do London. But I mean, Boris, he's as unstable as Saddam. He's drunk, you've seen him. He's a nutter, isn't he?
Don't frighten me. I don't believe it. I don't believe the world's going to end like this.
You're right in that he's got to appease his parliament, because they're very anti-American. He needs to get on domestically. He's not in a good situation, so being anti-American, they'll like that. So he's doing that, and he doesn't really know what he's doing, I don't think, because he's not, Listen, we were in this hour before we found out about the Third World War.
We were going to talk about the origins of mankind, actually, because, Nikkei, you'd very kindly read a book for us.
I did, yeah, specifically for that purpose.
Right.
Knowing there's a war coming. Yeah, it was this fantastic book called Man the Fallen Ape. I can't remember who it was by, but it was about the origin of our species.
Yeah.
Not that we're the pinnacle of evolution, as we've been told continually, but that we're actually the runts of the litter. We were the apes who didn't know how to survive. We had no skills. We had our basic aim and drive in life was to mimic, because we felt rejected. We couldn't do the things that the other proper apes could do. We couldn't swing from the trees properly. We couldn't find food. We couldn't mate properly and seasonally. And so we were kicked out of the paradise of the jungle into the savannah, where we struggled and learned to survive as a race by not being specialists in
Tell them the bit
anything.
about the fat and the hair bit.
Yeah, we used to be really hairy, you see, but what happened was when we got into the savannah, the desert, we were so panicked about not being able to have enough food to eat that whenever we found any, we absolutely stuffed ourselves. So our ancestors were these little runty creatures that ate too much and got so big and fat that the fat cells squeezed the hair out of their bodies, and that's how we became hairless.
Actually, there's another. If you got too fat, you wouldn't need hair as an insulation. It would. You'd get too hot, so you'd lose hair in that way as well.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking of asking my good listener what they think of this possible explanation of how we came to be who we are. Because there's so many big mysteries here, aren't there? There's how life got to be on planet Earth in the first place, and whether it was somebody's idea or a primeval soup-type accident of a fork of lightning hitting some sodium something or other. That's, number one question. But number two question, it's never really been solved as to why you've got the animal kingdom and then you've got us.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is this book, which is called what again?
It's called The Man the Fallen Ape.
Right. Suggests
and it's because we are... Our specialised subject as humans is the ability to mimic, and that's how we survive, by not having one particular thing that we're any good at or that we learn how to do. No matter what happens to us, someone will survive because we all just do anything.
But we've not got it right.
Well,
and that's why this is happening, and that's why other things are happening, because society is wrong for what we are.
Yeah, well, this is a hobby horse of yours, but I'm quite prepared to talk about that as well. You think we're all upside down, don't you?
I think the society, marriage, for instance, that's not natural.
Agreed.
I mean, you, Nikkei, you're both here, you're both married, but you both agree with me that marriage isn't natural.
Totally.
And what's going on, man?
Completely.
It's all going, and look what's happening, man.
I can't
do it anymore.
You're a wise man, Ash. Isn't he, Nikkei?
That's why he's got a beard.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's kick that one around, shall we, for half an hour? Okay. So the number is free call 0500 1053 89. So what do you think about that theory as to how come we have human beings a separate species from the rest of the animal kingdom? Of course, plenty of people think that we're not that different and that we are just the 212th ape. Free call 0500 1053 89. And are we getting it all wrong? And could it be that society's upside down and we're all half baked and half mad simply because we did detach ourselves from the rest of the ape kingdom, because we were the ape that couldn't cope, that couldn't get it right, that was half doolally when we started out? It's a theory. That number again is free call 0500 1053 89. Let's have a word with Gary, who is calling from London. Gary, I know you wanted to talk about how the world might end, but we'll also have a chat about how the world might have started.
That's right.
But you make your point first.
Well, basically, I'm terrified, mate, because I was in the Gulf in '91 when it all went off. I was in the Royal Air Force, and when we was over there, it probably was the most terrifying time of my life, because we just didn't know what was going to happen, what he was going to do, and now it's all been forgotten about, and he seems to have got better at it, and he's got a few mates, it would seem. So on the scale of 1 to 10, I'd say 15 is my count.
Oh,
how worried I am.
Now you're just a scaremonger, aren't you, really?
Well, no, I'm doing me decorating here, and I'm wondering whether it's worth finishing it. I'm halfway through my living room.
Are you being called up this time?
No. Well, I'm on what they call the reserve.
But you're effectively in action, aren't you? Because
I could be called up if it got that bad.
The planet Earth is a rather small place these days.
Yeah.
And we could be reached, I suppose.
Well, it could, someone coming over with, I don't know, a little aerosol in a suitcase and just letting that off in Heathrow, that could, wipe out the southeast, couldn't it?
Well,
I mean, I don't want to...
Or have we seen too many James Bond films?
It's a possibility, though, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it's a possibility, but there are possibilities in almost anything you'd like to talk about. The difference here is that an awful lot of people I am particularly worried about children.
Yeah.
Okay. The difference here is that a number of these possibilities are serious worst-case scenarios, aren't they?
Mm.
And I mean, the planet Earth has survived an awful lot of episodes of brinkmanship before.
Yeah, it has. But then there's the other side to it as well. I don't think the government, etc., if it ever does, get that bad where they think, yeah, this may actually happen, I don't think they tell the likes of me and you, if it's going to happen or whatever. I think there'd be a lot of propaganda as well, a lot of cover-up, etc.
Mm. Yeah, this only adds to our sense of uselessness, of being unable to act and unable to influence. But again, it's a powerful suspicion, but it's only a suspicion, isn't it?
The suspicion that he could actually do something. What I'm talking about is not actually over there. That's happened already, running around fighting, etc. I'm talking about the threat he's made of, America, London, going away from his, actually getting us on our home turf.
Mm.
That is quite a big possibility in my mind.
Mm.
And he's more than capable, if you ask me. I mean, there's many a Muslim, not Muslim, I shouldn't really use them, but there's many loyal followers of his in England and around the world that he would, call martyrs, etc., as he has been, if they was to do, even if it was, I don't know, a supermarket on a Saturday afternoon, God forbid, anything like that,
Would you be a subscriber, perhaps, to the view that's put forward in this book that we were talking about 5 minutes ago, which might explain how humanity gets itself into such a mess from time to time, that we could actually be descended from an ape?
From the idiots of the apes?
Yes.
Yeah, I can believe that. From the lower class of the apes, the runt of the litter sort of thing.
Yes.
We're the offspring.
Yes.
Yeah, I could actually.
Ash was saying a moment ago that he thought that the very institution of marriage was all the illustration you needed to show that we might well be the inept ape. Yeah. There's no other sort of animal or anything on the planet that does anything like that. Like everything else, just like mates have babies and that's it. No pair of animals, etc., stay together for long, do they? And here you are on a scale of 1 to 10. You're 15.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to being afraid at the moment, and yet you're going to carry on with the decorating, aren't you?
Only because she'll kill me when she gets in if it isn't done. But, I don't know, I think it's because I was there. I mean, there's probably hundreds of people listening as well that were there, that are still serving over there, etc. And it's just because, we was in the forces and the wall come down and everything, and everyone thought, oh, brilliant, no more threats of nuclear weapons, and all our training got changed, etc. And we didn't really know what to train for. And then we went out there, and it was like a big kick up the backside, and we were sort of told, right, lads, you could die out here, and it might not be from a bullet, it might be from something you won't be able to see, smell, or whatever, And I don't know, I think it's just that episode in my life, it's like it brought it all out again, especially that 3 o'clock news bulletin. I'll certainly be looking at the telly a lot more.
Okay. Yeah, and keep listening as well, because
I certainly will.
Peter Dealey's going to be going into greater detail than we possibly could on this show, starting from 4, with what I am sure will be an archived news clip that we may or may not return to as the years unfold, and people may talk almost whimsically about that afternoon when the news started off at 3 o'clock with the Third World War is just around the corner. Pre-call 0500 10 53 89. There's plenty of other things to worry about besides where we might finish as a species, like where we started in the first place. That number again is free call 0500 10 53 89. Jamie calls from Sunbury. Jamie, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hello there, Tommy.
Hello there, Jamie.
How are you? Yes, I'm a bit worried about the icebergs.
That's...
From what do you call it, Atlantic Ocean. I'm scared that they're going to come over and then just flood the Britain.
Yes. Okay, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Don't forget, when you call this programme, have your radio switched off when you come to the radio. Sean calls now from Norwich. You're on Talk Radio. Sean, good afternoon.
Hello?
Sean.
Hello.
Hi.
All right? Yeah, about your point about this book.
Yes.
It's a load of rubbish, isn't it?
Go on.
Yeah, well, we were created by God. We didn't evolve. Don't you ask questions sometimes like, if we evolved, how come we're not evolving into something else right now?
Well, evolution takes quite a long time, and in any case, there are those who think we are. I do.
What? You do what?
I think we're evolving.
Into what?
Into different forms of what we are.
Yeah, as in?
What do you mean, as in?
What do you mean, evolving into something different than what we are?
Well, I mean that.
Yeah, but what?
I can't elucidate on something that couldn't be clearer.
I mean, you've only got to look at our brain for a start, or...
Let's do that. Let's look at the brain.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it's more powerful than any supercomputer.
Yes. And so your point would be... Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
Let's go on
yes.
something like, animals.
Okay.
Animals. They live on instinct. Yeah, they've got not really any conscience, wherever us, we've got a conscience.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah? So how can you say then that we evolved from an animal? Because surely, under that basis, that'd be, we wouldn't have any conscience either.
Yes, go and turn your radio off, because I get fed up listening to myself 7 seconds later.
Right, hang on.
I get fed up listening to myself when I say it. Put your microphone on, Ash, and don't talk to me on my headphones. I'm getting annoyed here now with people like this.
I was just saying about...
Shut up, Sean, while I talk to Ash.
About the conscience thing that he said, no animals. I remember there was this gorilla.
Hello?
I don't know if you remember about the gorilla that could do sign language. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He had a little cat as a kitten, and it went out into the road, got run over, and the gorilla was very upset that the kitten had got run over. So animals do have a conscience.
Yes.
You know, I'm just saying we're not different to animals.
Yes.
Well, yes, we are. They're more highly evolved. We are the runts of the litter.
We're all as evolved as each other. We're all in the same stage of evolution on a graph.
Sean?
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah?
Go on.
I still think it's a load of rubbish.
Well, you're just clinging to the most comfortable idea, aren't you?
Of course I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No.
And it is the most comfortable idea that God made us all. And it's ever such a comfortable idea. But if God made us all, then what's going on this afternoon? Didn't you hear the news at 3 o'clock? What's he up to?
It's nothing to do with God, is it?
Oh, that's right.
If you read your Bible, you would know it's got nothing to do with God. This world is under Satan's influence, so it's nothing to do with God whatsoever. But people are so
Thick?
misled.
Thick?
No, I'm not saying they're thick. No, just misled
I know.
by the world's religions today.
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
I understand. All right.
Okay.
Well, it's very, very interesting talking to you, Sean.
I'm sure it was.
Yes, it certainly was. Never heard that before.
No, well, have a look at your Bible, mate.
I must have a look at my Bible.
Have you got one?
I use it to prop up the dressing room leg which has lost a caster. Is that wrong?
Well, that's up to you, isn't it? Who am I to judge?
Who are you to judge? You're a Christian.
Well, I know I am. But
Well,
I'm not
isn't that your stock in trade?
Sorry?
Isn't that your stock in trade, you
No,
guys?
I'm not going to judge you.
Yes, you are.
Okay, whatever.
You know you do. You love it, don't you?
If you say so.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
It was extraordinary crossing swords with you. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
This is Peter Dealey with you on Talk Radio from 4. Iraq, as the build-up continues and our nerves get a bit frazzled, are you worried we...
The end of the world, the beginning of the world. Free call 0500 1053 89. This show's not trivial. Mark calls from Luton. You're on Talk Radio, Mark.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Just about, sir.
Sorry?
Where are you?
I'm in Luton. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, just about. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It better be good.
Right, the point is, evolution can be proved wrong.
Yes?
It can be proved wrong because when you get down to what they call the Cambrian layer, where all the fossil records ever been found, okay, there is not one fossil evidence to show what one animal was before it evolved into another animal.
You're a paleontologist.
Sorry?
You're a paleontologist.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You're a paleontologist.
Give me 10 seconds.
I'll do that. I'll do that because I'm going to be interested to know how he's going to... Yeah, well, yes, why is there such a lot of noise?
I was on a motorway.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a paleontologist?
No, I'm not, no.
What are you?
I'm nothing. I'm a Christian. If
No,
you
but
like,
no,
but-
nobody's nothing, Mark. Surely Christ has taught you that. Yes. But you know a little bit about paleontology.
Very little.
Well, what do you ring up and make a point then about paleontology?
I know for a fact that
Yeah.
when you go down to the Cambrian layer,
Yeah.
okay, there is not one fossil evidence.
You said all this. We heard
Exactly.
it.
Well, there's no evidence to show. So how can evolution?
Yes.
Because evolution is based on things evolve one from another.
Who told you this?
Sorry.
Who told
I read
you
it in
this?
publications.
Which publication was this? The
It was
Yeah.
called Creation or Evolution.
And this was
And
published by.
It was, I can't remember.
What sort of an organisation was this?
What organisation?
Yes.
No, I can't. I don't know. It's by the publishers. I don't know.
Yes. It wasn't a
But-
church.
but-
It wasn't a church publication or anything.
Sorry?
Wasn't a church publication or anything.
No.
No. It was a independent scientific review, wasn't it?
It was scientific review. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's mainly on science.
Yes. Was it on cheap paper with a single staple in the middle? Because I get those.
No, it wasn't. No.
Yeah. Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yes, it was. With lots of spelling mistakes, because I get sent those. And photocopied pictures of bones.
I don't know. I'm not on your wavelength, but
Yes, you are. You're absolutely on my wavelength, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And some religious people do like to cobble together quasi-scientific.
this has got nothing to do with religion. This is to do with facts.
No.
And if you know anything about evolution,
Yeah, but
then
we've
you will
established
know-
that you don't.
Sorry.
We've established that you don't.
Well, I know that amount. I know that much.
Yes, but
there is
only
not
because
there is not one fossil evidence sitting on this planet Earth that will show what the dog was before it was supposed to evolve into a dog, or a cat before it evolved into a cat, or an elephant before it evolved into an elephant. There is not one fossil evidence to prove that. And if you'd like to get anybody from any sort of background, any sort of knowledgeable person to try to prove that, then great. But you never will.
Is that right?
You never will. Yes, that is right.
And you're very hopeful about that.
No, I'm not hopeful. I could stake my life on it, actually.
Well, you don't have to do that, really. But let me. Your understanding of evolution is limited, isn't it?
It's limited to, say, a professor. Yes.
No, but
who spends his whole life
your understanding of evolution is limited, isn't it?
is limited.
Yes.
It's limited to what degree? I mean, there's all degrees of limits, isn't there?
Yes. Why don't you go and read Park or something, Mark? Because I don't think we're going to get anywhere, are we? But
well, we're not going to get anywhere. But the point of what? I mean, why aren't you taking this point on board? That's what I'm.
because it's
Are you saying
infantile.
that there are fossil evidence?
No, because it's infantile.
Why?
Because the publication that you got it from was aimed at 9-year-olds.
Do you think so?
I know so. Send it me.
Sorry?
Send it me.
Send it to you?
Yes.
I'll send it to you. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
yes.
So what would be the address?
Talk Radio, 76 Oxford Street, PO Box 1089,
P.O. Box, I'm just writing this down, 1089.
London W1A 1PP.
Right.
Yes.
Yep, I've got that.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now, what I'd just like to ask is that why aren't you taking this on board?
Because
this is
it's
a very
drivel.
valid point.
No, it's not. It's drivel.
Evolution is.
No, it's
say
no. Look,
that
I
if
get.
we evolved. Can I just finish? If we evolved.
No, because we know what you're going to say. You've said it 3 times. So unless you're going to say something you haven't said, then let me say something that you haven't heard.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
I get lashings of pamphlets like this sent to me anonymously by desperate Christians.
Right,
The idea of evolution doesn't actually undermine the notion that there is a God, but it irritates the living daylights out of Christians and has done since the monkey trial.
Right.
Okay? Which found, by the way, for evolution.
Okay.
Even though the trial took place in the Bible Belt. Because if you adopt a scientific approach to it, you can clearly see that it makes sense, but that it leaves room for God.
Right.
If you've got a big enough mind to recognise that simple thing, those 2 facts. Okay?
Yes, I'm listening, yeah.
These publications, which I'm quite certain you've had a flick through of one of them, all right?
Right.
These publications are intensely hostile to the idea of evolution because a number of Christians misunderstand this simple scientific fact and believe that it precludes the Christian God, which it might not.
Right, okay, I'm listening.
The simple fact of the matter is that the intellectual muscle that's used to put these pamphlets together is negligible.
Right. Well, why you... I'm not quite with you why you're on about this publication all the time, or these publications as you refer to them. But let's just discuss other points of... I mean, as I understand, evolution is called a theory because different scientists or biologists or whatever you want to call them have all different theories. Is that correct?
And what happens is that Christians become more interested in disproving evolution
right.
than behaving in a Christian way.
Right, okay.
That's the problem.
Right.
And that's not what Christ would have wanted if he was the person
Why are we discussing religion when your show asks us to discuss the thought of how man came about and how man, obviously from the publication the lady read from, that we're supposed to have evolved from the monkeys?
Yeah, because you brought a Christian publication into the argument.
You're telling me I did?
Yes,
I'm not
I did.
aware it was a Christian publication.
Well, it was.
Right, okay, you're telling me, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I mean...
Does that tie up everything for you? Because we're going to have to move on.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Bye for now.
Cool.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Like I said before, the end of mankind, the beginning of mankind. You got the telephone number. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. How did mankind begin? How might mankind end? And will it be soon? In England, pottering along on 56 for 1. All of human life is here. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Alistair calls from Inverness. You're on Talk Radio, Alistair.
Hello, Tom.
Alistair.
I think over the last few months, while I was very interested in all your subjects and programs, this one cracked it. And I must congratulate you. First of all, I did try all these religions, or some of them, Christianity especially. And of course, we came from evolution. But one of my bugbears has always been brain staining, not brainwashing. At least you've got a hope if you're brainwashed.
Yes.
But you have little or no hope if you're brain stained. So if you're told that God started this and that, what the hell hope have you got of thinking out of that brain staining? I do believe what you said earlier on, or somebody did, that perhaps, and I think it's very likely, that the monkey that, I'm not going to say F-U-C-K.
No, you can't say that. I just got there in time. I gave it some thought. It was, sorry, Alistair.
Well, look at today's trouble.
Yeah, I know. No, hang on a second. You were making such a fine series of points. I know,
I'm
sitting,
very complex.
You are, and a delight to listen to. And I was I was sat at your feet, reaching out to touch
anyone to sit at my
the
feet.
hem of your garment. Proceed, but keep the language tidy and don't even spell words, okay?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Not at all.
I beg your pardon. I'll not be a Billy Connolly because I'm not a millionaire.
Understood.
I was for a short time.
Finish your point. Because it is a good one.
What I would like to say, and it's referring more or less to the world's concern, or the Western world's concern today, about Saddam Hussein. If we think really carefully about our universe, I don't think one human being wants it damaged or destroyed more than we've already done it. So why not, instead of putting over horrific missiles and bombs and things and getting everybody so terrified, why not do what Christ told people? You'll turn wrath with kindness. Send over to all the people who are poorly and at least they're informed about Allah. You know, the way the Christians are informed about God. And put over huge supplies of food to the millions of people in Iraq. Who would then, and in each parcel, let them know that the Western world and the whole world do not want to see one person dictate to the world.
Alistair, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts. Free call 0500 10 53 89. John's in Manchester. You're on Talk Radio. John.
Hi, Tom.
John.
That guy was saying that you can't trace through fossil records from when one animal changes into another one. People often come out with that, and it's not true. You can trace the horse through from when it was a 15-inch tall creature, which was a bit like a small antelope, right through to the present-day Shire horse. every stage of its development, we've been lucky because there were large herd animals that they left behind plenty of fossils. And they can be traced through. There's several...
Well, without being unkind about the caller you're referring to, I do believe that an awful lot of people who haven't read that many books, and I'm not referring to this caller, or an awful lot of people who left school at the earliest opportunity, and again, I'm not referring back to that previous caller, would actually like to know that some complex ideas aren't true, because then you don't have to find out about them.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that means you've got more time down the pub. Simple as that.
I think the finest example I ever read of the way hominids evolved and the large apes is if you imagine it as a rose bush with all the different length branches and then you prune it like mad, just leaving a few branches left. And that's us and the other big apes. We're the few branches left. And the branches are all growing at different rates. And who's to say that some of those branches won't yet fail? We may die out, chimpanzees may die out, and that's just another branch removed.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.